Do you think I should start posting YouTube videos?
No. Filtered.
So I think I'm gonna start making YouTube videos, or at least give it a shot. I think that there's maybe 3 sort of themes that I could focus on in different videos that hopefully might provide some kind of entertainment or value to people. The 3 things are kind of show a little bit about the areas that I'm running in or hiking, talk about different trails, mountains, whatever. That's one. Another would be to talk about my own running, whatever I'm training for, what I'm doing at the time, and if I'm running with friends, what they're training for, what they're doing. Kind of like this. And then third thing, maybe to just talk about some of the kind of hot topics that are on my mind sometimes, or that I talk about with Leah or with friends on runs. So today I'm on the West Grandeur Trail, Grandeur Peak, with my friend Caleb. This is a very steep trail that comes right up from the valley floor in Salt Lake. Some rain and sleet, but you might be able to see the city back there. Essentially a vertical kilometer, a very steep one, about 3,300 feet in just a little over 2 miles. Got a little bit of mud, a little bit of rain, probably some snow up top today. But this is definitely a go-to local mountain for Salt Lake area people. So I'll show you different clips throughout the trail today to give you a sense of what this route looks like. So this side of the Grandeur Peak Trail, the west side, climbs from right around 5,000 feet, maybe a little less, up to the summit at about 8,300 feet or so. Conveniently, Caleb and I are both training for the same race right now, the Transgrancanaria Classic, 126K race in the Canary Islands in February, so a month and a half or so from now. So we're both training for that, but we're out here today doing very different things. If you follow me on Strava, you might know that I'm in a heated rivalry with this guy Finn Melanson of the Single Track podcast, who is also running Transgrancanaria, and who is probably faster than me in just about any workout, but for some reason thinks that that's an indication that he'll be able to beat me at Transgrancanaria. So I'm feeling pretty good for TGC. It's, let's say, January 2nd, so we probably have like 7 weeks or so, and I'm feeling really good. It's been kind of a weird winter in Salt Lake so far. A lot of rain down low, getting some decent snow at higher elevations now, but it's been really wet. But yeah, training's been going well. What I'm doing today on Grandeur is supposed to be just like relatively easy, like vert volume kind of in my mind. I'm not coached, but the way I think about my training is I like to combine a good bit of like mountain vert with at least a little bit of speed work most weeks. So been in a good rhythm doing that stuff. The other day, I guess 2 days ago, I ran a flat 50K on the pavement at Liberty Park here in Salt Lake. Dakota Jones was doing a 4-hour run. He was nice enough to run my pace for the first hour before speeding up to his own training pace. But got a good 50K PR, about 317, 318 out of that, and I was extremely sore. But my biggest mistake was wearing brand new tights that I had just bought the day before, and chafed the inside of my thighs pretty raw. But I'm Vaselined up here today and it's feeling okay. But yeah, kind of the idea for the rest of the week coming out of that was a hard effort. It's just to kind of stack on some relatively lower heart rate, vert volume. So that's what I'm doing on Grandeur today. Thinking about going up the steep way here and looping it down the other side for like a 10 or 11 mile loop. All right, so what are you doing out here today?
Doing a weighted hike. Hopefully this takes about 50 minutes. That's what I'm aiming for.
How much weight you got in there?
About 40 pounds, give or take a little.
And then you bring that back down?
It's water, so I dump it at the top.
Smart.
So I'm blowing myself up on the downhill.
Smart.
Yeah.
Is this a pretty good push? What's the effort like?
Pretty solid. I don't know, barely conversational.
So, what do you think about people posting their Strava year in sport to Instagram?
Oh man, definitely a trend right now.
Did you do it?
I missed the train.
Not your cup of tea?
Didn't get mine up in time.
I should clarify, there is no such thing as an easy West Grandeur. My heart rate right now is at 158 because it's just so steep. But at least I don't have 40 pounds on my back. Caleb has made me drool on this climb before when I was trying to push it last year. This is maybe the only time I'll ever be ahead of and feeling better than Caleb.
Yeah, I'm folded.
When he's folded in half with 40 pounds of water on his back.
Getting a little tough.
We're almost 2,900 feet up in just about 50 minutes. There you go, 3,300 feet, 2.25 miles. Got up here in right about an hour. Caleb dropped his pack and then started dropping me. No views today, just clouds. A little fresh snow up here. Heading down the Church Fork, east side of Grandeur Peak now. And then we'll loop it back around on the pipeline trail back to the car. So this run will be 10 or 11 mile loop with about 3,300 feet of climbing, which we gained all of just now in the first 2 miles. So now we have a little bit of a slightly more gentle descent down Church Fork into Mill Creek Canyon, and then 3 miles or so of pancake flat on the pipeline trail, and then a nice gentle 1,000 feet or so downhill for the final 3 miles back to the trailhead. We were in just a little bit of a snowstorm up top there and in the clouds, but as I'm starting to lose elevation here, it's starting to clear out just a little bit. I'm getting some nice classic views looking down Mill Creek Canyon toward the Salt Lake Valley there. One of the awesome things about Grandeur Peak is it's a staple for year-round trail running in the Salt Lake area. You can run this trail, summit this peak relatively reasonably just about 365 days a year in all kinds of different conditions. All right, so the hot topic on everyone's mind as I descend down into the tree line here is Strava year in sport. Do we like sharing Strava gear and sports summaries to Instagram. I'll admit there's a very loud, cynical voice that lives in my head that says, and has said for a long time, that if I care about your runs, or if I want to follow your running, I'll follow you on Strava. And I don't really care to see it on Instagram. And I felt the same way myself. Like, I haven't normally shared Strava things over to Instagram because I feel like people care. Then they'll follow me there. And that's not what they're on Instagram to see. That's the cynic that lives in my brain. But I think as I've kind of gotten maybe a little wiser over the years, I like to think so at least, maybe slightly less cynical, I've come to realize it's okay to be proud of yourself. Like, I mean, why do people share their Strava stats to Instagram? Probably because, you know, they want people to see what they did in most cases, or in many cases, because they want their friends and other people to see how much they exercised this year, or how much vert they did, or how many miles they ran, whatever. Because they want, you know, some credit, some attention for it, whatever. And that's because they're probably kind of proud of it. And that's what I've come to realize is like, dude, if you're proud of something, be proud of it. And it's cool to be proud of yourself. Just kind of be unapologetically yourself. And if that means sharing things that you're proud of, or wanting other people to see how much you're running, just own that. Be proud of it. And honestly, that's kind of cool. So I don't see myself personally sharing Strava stuff to Instagram. I still think if you give a shit about my running, my training, you can follow me on Strava and see for yourself there. And I will assume that you're on Instagram to see some nice photos and, I don't know, selfies with my cat and stuff. I've come to realize that cynical mindset that I had is maybe a little bit immature, and I think I've grown out of that. So just be yourself, whether that's on Strava, on Instagram, or both, or YouTube, whatever. Just be yourself, and I think that's cool. So I've got 3 miles or so here on the Pipeline Trail, which pretty much rides like a 6,000 foot topo line, pancake flat, along Mill Creek Canyon here. It's a pretty scenic trail, good views. I've kind of worked my way out of the slush as I get closer to the valley here and onto some better dirt. You can see the Ochre Mountains across the Salt Lake Valley in the distance. Are we enjoying this? Am I a YouTuber now? Moment of gratitude for Vaseline, dude. Last night in the middle of the night, I woke up and pulled my underwear off of my chafing on each leg. A couple spots in each leg. It was stuck. It was excruciating. Really painful. Like, surprisingly painful. And I know I'm weak and I'm a dude, so I'm really sensitive to pain. But it was excruciating. And I wondered if I'd even be able to do any running today. But good application of some Vaseline. Starting to feel it just a little bit, but I think we're gonna be just fine. I was a little worried it'd wear off and I'd start getting kind of bow-legged, you know. But so far so good. Unfortunately, it was just my inner thighs. The jewels remained unscathed. So, moment of gratitude for Vaseline. If you live around here and run the Pipeline Trail a lot, I think it's easy to think that it's kind of a drag. But come on, man. Not bad. Alright, we're 8 miles into this loop. Just past the Salt Lake Overlook, which is the kind of the western end of the Pipeline Trail. And now we're on the BST, Bonneville Shoreline Trail. About 3 miles of a real gradual downhill back to the car. It cleared up a bit so you can see Salt Lake City over there. Nice clear view of the valley. And the switchbacks are about to go down. This is a brand new trail, just finished in the last year or two, connecting the West Grandeur Trailhead to Pipeline. I am tired. It's not always epic around here. Sometimes you gotta take what you get. And what we get today is some of the heaviest mud I've ever carried on my shoes. This is, like I mentioned earlier though, a new trail, relatively new trail, so there's not a whole lot of rocks or gravel or anything on it, and it really holds water. You know, I was just thinking, this run's actually really good TGC prep, I think, because TGC, you have a lot of runnable miles in the beginning, but then it packs in a lot of climbing in that, probably from mile 10 to 50 or so, and then you're doing a lot of running, both downhill and some more runnable climbs, and a bit more gradual and flat for a bit down into the finish. So kind of a similar format, or at least something that I think this run sort of trains toward, is doing some real steep climbing early on, and then having to run flat and gradually downhill for quite a bit. So I don't know what Finn's doing today, but I hope it's as good a Transgrancanaria training as I'm doing. He's gonna need it. Okay, I think that's the end of this video.